Hello everybody, welcome back to Devi Daily Yoga for this full body flow to stretch, strengthen, energize, and relax. We will work into the whole body. We'll do some standing poses, some floor poses, and some flows inspired by Hatha Yoga, Vinyasa, Yang Yoga, and of course Yin Yoga, which is what I always love to end with. So roll out your mat. Our practice begins right now. Let's begin seated with the legs crossed, and you can sit on a cushion if you'd like to. Let your hands rest on your legs, sit up tall with your spine, and close your eyes. Take a few moments to arrive here on your mat, noticing your sitting bones, how they're connected to the earth. And now draw a full breath in to the belly and the heart. And exhale and feel yourself rooting down through the lower body, the hips, the legs, the feet. Inhale and fill the lungs, expand the chest and the ribs. Exhale, settling into this body, welcoming yourself to the mat, to your practice. And another inhaling breath. With a sigh, let it go. And sitting quietly now for the next few moments with an easy, natural breath, tuning into yourself, into what your body needs at this moment, what your spirit needs at this moment. And slowly now, let the eyes open up, touch the ground with the fingertips on either side of you, and inhale, sweep the arms out, palms up, bring the arms overhead, palms meet over the head, lift your gaze to your hands, and exhale, pull the hands down to the midline, down to your heart. Good, touch the ground and sweep them up. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, bring it down to the heart. One more time, inhale. Exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. And now inhale, sweep them up once again. And exhale, take your right hand down to the floor. Left arm reaches up and look up to the left side. As you look up to the left side, inhale your breath. And as you exhale, maybe a little bit more side bend. Good, let's inhale, arms come up over the head, and exhale right over to the other side. Big breath into the right side of the body. Exhale, a little more side bend. Let's inhale, arms over the head, palms meet overhead. Twist to your right, right hand behind you on the floor, left hand to the outer side of the knee. With your inhale, stay here and lift your spine up into the front of your body. As you exhale, can you twist your shoulders around a little more, maybe looking a little farther back behind you? Inhale, release, sweep arms over the head, palms touch overhead, and exhale right over to the other side. As you inhale, lift the spine forward and up. As you exhale, twist a little more with the shoulders, using the strength of your arms. And release, arms come up over the head. Palms meet, and as you exhale, just sweep the arms back down to the sides. And now let's come forward, hands to the floor in front of you, starting to stretch into the lower back and the hips. And now with your inhale, lift your chest, keep your fingers on the ground. As you exhale, walk your hands over your left leg, feeling a little bit more stretch in the right hip, the right lower back. Beautiful, let's bring it back to center and over to the other side. Feeling now into the left lower back, left outer hip. Breathe. Walk it back to the center and slowly walk the hands back in to come up. And let's come onto hands and knees. And in our hands and knees position, let's find some easy, gentle cat and cows to warm up the spine. We'll inhale, lifting into cow. Lift your gaze. As you exhale, round your spine. Draw your ribs up and back toward the back body. Inhale, drop ribs, roll shoulders back. Inhale. And exhale, round the spine, tuck chin, tuck tail. Inhale into the back bend, shoulders back. Exhale, round your spine. And return to a neutral spine as you walk your hands forward, making our way into puppy pose, sending the hips back as you drop your heart down toward the earth. Feeling into the armpits, you can play around with whether the head rests on the ground or remains in a hover position. Give your tail a little wag, side to side, massage your lower back. Beautiful. Let's stay here and then just thread the left arm under the right for a nice easy thread the needle pose. Side of the head on the floor, outside of the left shoulder to the floor. Good. Let's inhale into this twist of the upper spine. If you want to get into a little bit of a deeper twist, you can take your fingertips of your right hand that's above your head, press the fingers into the ground and turn yourself a little more with the strength of your arm. And now let's take it into rolling panda from here. Take your right foot out like a kickstand, tucking the toes under, and the angle is kind of like 45 degrees from the straight position of your mat. And from here, let's take this right arm, reach it up and back and tuck it behind the back. Maybe you'll reach around and find the crease of the left thigh, or maybe just rest the hand on the lower back. Roll this right shoulder back. Feeling the stretch in the upper side of the neck, the upper back, the left side of the neck. Good. Let's take this arm back up into the air. Let it find the ground over the head once again. We're going to see if we can return slowly to our puppy pose, both knees to the floor, both arms stretched out in front, the heart sinking down to the ground. With an inhale, lift the back of the body a little, puffing up into the back of the heart. And as we exhale, let's sink back down, threading under into thread the needle pose. Right side of the head to the ground, outer right shoulder to the ground. And breathe. And again, maybe lifting the palm to press left fingertips into the ground to get a little more rotation. Now let's take the left leg out like a kickstand for our rolling panda pose. And imagine you're rolling over onto the outside of the right shoulder, the right side of the back of the neck, tucking the head under, feeling this upper spine stretch. Let's take this left arm, reach it up into the air, make a big slow arc of the arm as it finds its way to the lower back, maybe finding the hip crease at the right leg. Roll your left shoulder back. And now let's slowly bring it back around. Bring the hands to the floor. Find your way back to hands and knees. And let's tuck the toes and send the hips back into child's pose, getting a nice release in the lower back. Press the ground forward with your hands. Arms are active here. Soles of the feet stretching out. Let's inhale up to hands and knees, and now let's take it into downward dog. Press the right heel down, bend the left knee, stretching into the back of the right calf and hamstrings. And let's switch, left leg down, left heel down, right knee bends. And continue to walk it out. Right heel down, left heel down. One more time, right heel down, and the left heel down. And bring it back to center. Let's walk the feet as wide apart as the mat and really get a nice opening in the upper back now, a little bit wider dog here. Good, and from here we're going to ripple forward into a wide-legged plank pose, shoulders over the wrists. Inhale the breath. Stay here as you exhale. And one more inhaling breath. And now let's drop the knees, come all the way down onto the belly. Keep the legs wide, with the feet as wide as the mat, as you lift up into Cobra Pose. Inhale, lift the gaze, shoulders back, and exhale, ripple right back down. And now take the hands wider than your mat on the fingertips, lift up once again. Good, and ripple right back down. And now take your hands forward, a few inches, maybe even a foot farther forward. Lift up into Cobra, exhale, back down. Good, now press your hips up and back into Child's Pose, this time tops of the feet on the floor. Hips coming back, forehead finds the earth, and just rest here. Soften into your breath. And walk the hands back, coming up to sit on top of the knees. Let the arms rest down at your sides. And drop your right ear toward your right shoulder, stretching into the left side of the neck. Let's take the right arm up and wrap it around to the left side of the head. And from here, can we lengthen up by pulling up and out with the hand so that the left side of the neck becomes longer. Breathe into this stretch. Good, let's bring it back up to the center. Let the right arm find its way back down and tilt the head to the other direction. Let's take the left arm up and over and let the hand find the right side of the head. And once again, a gentle pull, finding some traction with the hand pulling up and away from the right shoulder. You can imagine you're kind of pulling the skin of the skull up and away. Finding this space in the right side of the neck and breathing into it. And let's release, letting the left arm find its way to the ground. Head comes back up to center and stretching into the feet now. Let's take the hands back and lift the knees up off the floor. Feel the tops of the feet, the fronts of the feet stretching out. And let's tap the right knee toward the ground. Maybe you don't make it, maybe you do, but just getting that little extra bit in the left front of the foot. And now we'll switch sides, left knee down, right arm up. You can lean your torso a little bit to accommodate this movement. Let's do it one more time. Left knee up, right knee down, and switch to the right knee lifting up. Beautiful. Let's bring it back down, coming back up and taking it into hands on hips, standing up on the knees. And we're going to find a lunge with a controlled movement. Take the right leg forward, balancing a little bit on the way, and feel into the hips here. Starting to stretch into the front of your left hip flexors. Let's sweep the arms out and up over the head. Lift the gaze. Find a little back bend, a sensation in the lower back now. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, pull the hands down to the midline. Inhale the breath. And as you exhale, find the ground with your hands. Let's shift the hips back into half split. Draw the right toes back toward you. Feel the back of the leg, the hamstrings. Wag your tail, wiggle your hips side to side. Beautiful. Let's bring it forward into the lunge again. Fingertips stay connected to the ground, or maybe your palms are on the ground. And we'll shift the hips back, exhaling here. Draw the right toes back. We inhale to bring it forward again into the lunge. Lift the heart, shoulders roll back. And exhale, shift the hips back. Right toes come back. And we lift it forward once again. Hips down, heart lifts. And exhale last time into half split. Good, and bring your way forward onto this front foot. And now let's plant the left hand onto the floor and come into a twist, right hand on the knee. Walk your right foot out to the right side edge of your mat and twist it into dragon twist. Lift your right arm up into the air, open the chest, inhale. And you can either stay here or take it into dragon holds its tail pose, bending the left foot up, holding the foot with your right hand. So it's right hand to left foot. And now we can start to feel this extra stretch in the left quads if we're in this dragon holds its tail or holding dragon twist. In either pose, let's roll the right shoulder back. Find the back bend in the pose. Can you bring your left hip forward as you kind of bring your skull back in space? Steady breath. Let's release this now and find the ground, both hands on the inside of the foot. We'll take it into lizard or gecko. You might choose to stay up on the hands with straight arms or come down onto elbows. And if it feels good, come onto the outside edge of the right foot, winging the right knee out to the right side. And breathe here, feeling into the right groin. And slowly come back up. Place the hands on either side of the front foot. Tuck the back toes under, finding plank pose. Step right leg back, shoulders over the wrists, and inhale the breath. As you exhale, come down onto the knees and all the way onto the belly. Lift up to cobra pose. Inhale. Exhale, turn the head to the right, looking behind you. As you inhale, come forward, and exhale to the other side. Good. Inhale, lift up through the heart, lift up through the crown of your head, and exhale, roll it back down. And find your way into child's pose. Tops of the feet on the ground, hips coming back toward your heels, palms connected to the earth, forehead connected to the earth. Breathe and rest. And now to come up, let's sit back on the heels, lifting up into our seiza, and stretch the front of the feet again. Lift the knees off the ground, hands behind you. And come back to standing on the knees, standing up, lifting the hips, hands on the hips, and we'll find once again our controlled balancing step forward with the left leg and into our dragon lunge. Lower the hips down. And now sweep the arms up and over the head into crescent lunge. Lift the gaze, lift the heart. Inhale. Stay here as you exhale. Can you soften down into the front of the right hip a little bit more? One more breath in. And as you exhale, palms come together right in front of the heart. And now find the ground with your hands. Inhale, sink the hips, lift the heart. And exhale, half split, shift your hips back. Draw the left toes toward you. Feel into the back of the left leg. Finding any wiggles or wagging of the tail that feels good here. Good, and now shift it forward, left foot flat, drop hips, lift heart. Inhale, exhale, shift the hips back. Following the breath now as we inhale once again to the lunge. And exhale, shift the hips back. Inhale forward to lunge. Exhale back to half split, last time here. And come forward into lunge. And plant your right hand down on the ground and walk your left foot out to the left side edge of your mat. Left hand on top of the left knee as you twist your heart. Finding dragon twist. Optionally bend your back knee up, reach back and hold the foot with the hand, come into dragon, holds its tail. Whichever pose you're in, roll your left shoulder back. Bring the skull back in space as you find the back bend here. Nice deep stretch in the front of your right hip and thigh. Deep breath in. Exhale. And slowly release, left arm comes up. Let's take both hands to the floor, maybe with straight arms here or maybe down onto the elbows. Your version of gecko pose for today. Option to come onto the outside edge of the left foot and open the left knee out to the side. Breathe. And slowly come up now. And let's tuck the back toes under. Straighten the legs to come into a wide leg forward bend, hanging between the legs. And let's hold opposite elbows and sway side to side. And now press the hands into the ground, lift your heart up for a halfway lift here. Place the hands on the hips, come all the way up to standing. Point your right toes out to the right and turn your left toes in. Let's inhale the breath, palms face up, bring the palms over the head and hands pull right down to the heart as we bend into the right knee, coming into our warrior two pose. Arms come out, palms facing down toward the earth, gazing to the right. Beautiful. Let's lift the toes up, feel the soles of the feet really connect to the ground. And now can you imagine that you are pulling your thigh muscles into the hip socket, hugging the bone in. From here, can we keep these solid legs as we tip back into reverse warrior, turn the right palm toward the back leg and lift it up. Breathe into the right side of the ribs, the right waist. Reverse warrior. Inhale, reach up through these fingers a little bit more. And as you exhale, come back through warrior two. And right into side angle pose, right elbow on the knee, left arm comes up, turn the left palm toward the earth as you take it into the same angle as the back leg. And here we stretch into the left side of the ribs, the left side of the waist. Very good. Now let's take this top hand and circle it around so that it wraps behind the lower back, maybe tucking into the hip crease. And take the right arm out to the side. Here, start to feel some core strength with the right palm kind of reaching as if you're trying to hold something way out there, holding a heavy ball. And use your core strength to slowly lift up into reverse warrior, keeping this left hand behind the back. Inhale your breath. Exhale, straighten your right leg. Reach way up into this reverse triangle pose. Inhale. Good. Exhale and come down into a triangle, but keep this left hand behind the back. Right hand can come to the leg or to the floor. And hold your triangle, getting a nice little extra bit of length between the left shoulder and the left ear. Find your back bend here. Skull moves back in space, left shoulder moves back in space. Right hip tucks under as we really strengthen into the right thigh. That's where a lot of our power is coming from here. And now extend the left arm up into the air, adding this last little bit. Breathe. Beautiful. Let's take this left hand back to the hip and bend your right knee and start to make your way into half moon pose. You can shorten your stance first. Left hand comes out or right hand comes out in front of you. Lift the back leg up. You might keep your gaze on the ground. You might have both hands on the ground for extra help with your balance. Or if it's comfortable, left hand on the hip or lifting up right into the air. And flex your left foot, finding strength in the left leg. Gazing up. Feel free to use a block under your right hand here. Staying here for another couple of breaths. And now we're going to make a graceful, slow transition back into Warrior Two pose. Sending the leg back, lifting up, beautiful. Gazing out over the right fingertips. Well done. Let's turn the palms up, arms come up over the head, palms together. And now Warrior Two, right over to the second side. Left toes point out, right toes point in. Great, let's tip it back to reverse warrior now, keeping the legs strong, the thighs engaged. Nice deep breath into the left side of the body. And exhale, come back through Warrior Two, nice and slow, moving into side angle pose. Left elbow on the knee, right arm up and over. And can you rely more on your core and on the strength of your legs rather than just dropping down the weight of the torso into this arm? Can you imagine lifting your elbow off your knee for a moment and placing it back down? Let's take this top arm, wrap it around, holding on to the hip or maybe just resting the back of the hand against your sacrum. And now we can really work the core, again, by taking this left hand out to the side, palm facing up. Roll your right shoulder back. Extend your torso. Extend the crown of the head to the side. And keep the legs just as they are as you tip back into reverse warrior. Keep the hand behind the back. Gaze to the left. Inhale. And now as you exhale, straighten your left leg for reverse triangle. Lengthen up, feel the stretch in the side body. And as you exhale, come into triangle, keeping this right hand behind the back. Left hand on the shin, the ankle, or the foot. Maybe hand on the floor. Nice strong legs here. And option two, lift the right arm up now. Beautiful. Let's inhale the breath. Staying here and exhaling. A couple more breaths here with really strong legs, really focusing on the strength of the front leg, the left thigh, hugging the muscles into the hip socket. And now our half moon pose, let's take the right hand onto the hip, gazing down at the floor, bend into the left knee, and finding your shorter stance to launch off from. Once again, both hands could be on the floor, or if you're comfortable, right hand on the hip, open the hips up, and perhaps lift the right arm up. Both legs are very strong here. And breathe. One more inhaling breath. And as you exhale, can you send the legs back? Warrior two pose, a graceful transition, gazing out over the left hand. Beautiful. And now straighten both legs, palms up, palms come together over the head, toes forward, feet parallel. Inhale the breath, lift your gaze. And exhale, arms come out, hands clasped behind your back, and open up your chest. Take a little back bend. Exhale, keep the hands clasped as you hinge forward at the hips. Let your arms lift up away from your back. Good, release the arms down to the floor. Relax, head toward the floor. Option to turn the hands toward the back, fingertips point toward the back, and pull yourself through a little more actively. And coming up and placing the left hand on the floor under your heart, twist and lift your right arm up into the air. And bring it back down and switch sides. Right hand down, left arm up. Inhale. And exhale, bring it back down. Let's place the hands on the hips, come all the way up to stand, and move into some of our warrior flow mobility. We'll take the legs so that we can turn the hips toward the front leg. And this is like warrior one legs, but it's different in that we're not trying to go for parallel with the foot. We're going to let these toes come out to the side at whatever angle is comfortable. And now this back leg, let the heel lift up. Keep your hands on your hips to begin with. And we can let this back knee bend as much as feels good. This is really just strong and able to move. We want to be able to come forward and back, not going for a static position so much. And now let's come up and do the same thing on the other side. And bend into that knee. Good, so the front foot once again is not straight forward and back. It's finding an angle that feels really stable for your balance. And let's practice moving back and forth, because one of the things about this mobility series is that we can move back and forth with ease. The feet find their footing, back and forth, side to side. So one more time toward the back. And now let's come to the front again. And let's add the arms, taking your right arm forward with the palm open. Good, bring the hands to the hips and to the other side. Left arm forward. And take it back to the first side. Right arm forward, option to have your left arm come back now. Good, and back to the first side. Back to the second side. A couple more times on each side. Good, and back to the second side. Excellent. And let's bring the hands in, and let's take it to the first side once again. So we have our warrior advancing pose. And from here, let's take the torso, swivel it around, drop the back heel. Good, and from here, right into a kind of a side lunge that's called warrior retreat pose. We're taking the left arm in front of the leg, right arm back behind the back. And you can drop it down as low as you'd like. You could let your right heel lift up. And now we come back into that warrior advancing pose. Okay, let's do that 2 more times. Swivel around. Find the feet that you need to be stable here in this warrior retreat pose. And come back into warrior advance over the front leg. Good, bring it back one last time. And into the warrior advance. And now we'll switch to warrior advance on the second side. There's lots of movement of the feet here. It's something to really get used to if you haven't done this stuff with me before. And now we come back through and take it into our side lunge on the other side. Right arm crosses in front, left hand behind the back. Good, and we come back up into our warrior advance pose. And take it into the speed skater once again, warrior retreat. And notice I haven't told you exactly what to do with this foot. It's not straight out, it's not straight forward, it's whatever angle feels good for you and your hip structure. Let's come into warrior advance and back into the side lunge. Very good, let's take it into warrior advance. Last time here. And swivel around to the front. Excellent. Inhale the breath, lift your gaze, take a little back bend, and exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Now we're gonna walk the hands way out in front, kind of like a puppy pose, letting the heart melt down toward the ground. It's like you're pulling back with your sitting bones, getting a little bit of traction of the back of the ribs, the upper middle spine. Inhale the breath. And exhale, bring the hands back in. And place the hands on the knees, bend your knees, and come into this goddess position. And just shift your hips side to side, kind of get your body used to this. Once again, maybe your toes are straight out to the sides, maybe they're straight forward, but more likely there's somewhere in between that feels good for you and your hips. Good, let's shift the right shoulder forward and shift the left shoulder forward. And now let's shift the right shoulder forward and shift the left shoulder forward. One more time, right? And one more time, left. Good, releasing. Let's take it over our front leg, finding downward facing dog. Inhale the breath as you lift way up through your sitting bones. And as you exhale, shift forward into plank pose. Inhale. And dropping down with or without the knees, come up into your cobra or upward dog. And exhale, send the hips back into child's pose. Resting here. Breathe here. And coming up to hands and knees, let's slip the right knee forward, start our way into pigeon pose. Send the right hips down to the ground and lift up into upright pigeon to begin. Roll your shoulders back. Inhale your breath. And exhale, come forward onto the elbows, or maybe resting the forehead down on the hands, or taking the arms out in front of you. Feel free to take it into a twist if your body likes that variation. We're stretching into the right glutes here. Maybe you know your variations of deer pose or your yin sleeping swan. Feel free to take it in any direction that works for your body right now to stretch these glutes. And breathe into what you're feeling. And slowly release now. Let's sit over onto the right hip. And slowly bring the back leg around to the front and stack the shins. Left heel on top of the right knee. Use your variations if you'd like to take it more toward a shoelace, if you're familiar with your variations, or if it's too much, you can have both feet on the ground instead, crossing at the shins or ankles. And in whichever position of the legs you are in, start to make your way forward. Breathing into the left glutes. Softening a little bit more here as your body relaxes into the shape. And slowly come back up and slowly sit over to the right. Take this top leg back where it came from. Find your way back into plank pose. Step your right leg back, shoulders over the wrists. Inhale, with or without dropping the knees. We'll come down, taking cobra or upward dog. And exhale to downward dog. And drop the knees, taking it into sleeping swan on the second side. Left knee forward, right leg back. And lift up through the chest. Inhale the breath. Exhale, lower down onto the elbows. Or rest forehead on the hands. Or arms forward, head on the ground, or your twist. Breathing in your sleeping swan. As you find the stretch, feel deeply into the stretch in the left glutes. And slowly rise up and slowly sit over onto the left hip. Bring the back leg around to the front. Right ankle on top of the left knee. Stack the shins or take your variation, finding the angles of the body. Maybe right foot on the floor instead of on the knee. And we come forward, finding our stretch in the right glutes. Breathe. Settling in. And slowly now coming up, let's take this top leg, send it back where it came from, and find plank position. And from plank, we will hold it here. Transitioning now into side plank pose. Taking your right hand to the floor and tilt your feet to have left foot in front of the right as one option, or to have right knee on the floor. And we'll take the arms up into the air, or more advanced, stacking left foot on top of the right. And holding here for 5 breaths. Strengthening into the core. Turn the gaze up if it's comfortable for your balance, or keep the gaze on the floor for easier balance. And breathe. And for the last breath, can you maybe lift your top leg up and keep your balance? Good, let's bring it back down, back through the midline, and over to the other side. Maybe right foot in front of the left, maybe left knee down, or maybe both feet on top of each other. Lift your right arm up. Steady breath. And totally optional, that last little bit of challenge, maybe lifting the right leg. And we'll bring it back down, back to our plank pose. Moving through a vinyasa with or without the knees on the ground. And up into cobra or upward dog. And downward dog, exhale. Drop the knees, take it back into child's pose. And let's come up to sit with the legs out in front. Both legs in front for caterpillar. Feet about hips width. We'll come forward over the legs, hands on the ankles, or the feet, or the floor. Cushion under the seat if you would like. Breathing into the stretch in the back body, stretching the whole back body now. And slowly rise up. Slowly lower down onto your back. And on your back, hug your knees into your chest. Welcoming yourself to the floor now, rocking side to side. Feel the lower back. And let's touch the feet to the floor and shift the hips over to the left. Take both knees in and over to the right for our spinal twist to end the practice with the right hand on top of the knees, left arm extending out to the left side. Option to cross, left knee over the right. Let's take the right elbow down into the ground, right hand up into the air. We're going to press this right elbow down to lift the right shoulder blade up and out to the side and settle the shoulders a little bit more firmly against the ground with this adjustment. Turn your head all the way to the left or whatever feels good on your neck. Breathe. Slowly release, legs back up to the center. Plant the feet, shift the hips over to the right a few inches, take both knees in and over to the left. Right arm extended out to the right side. Left hand on the knees as we cross, right knee over left, or keep the knees stacked on top of each other. Settling in, adjusting as you need to so your body feels balanced. And once you're ready, let's take this shoulder adjustment, left elbow down into the ground, left hand in the air. As we press down with the elbow, lift the left shoulder up and out to the side a little bit and settle both shoulder blades toward the ground. The energy of the twist is that the knees are moving toward the ground on the side, the shoulder is moving toward the ground on the opposite side. But if either one doesn't touch the ground, that's okay, as long as you're feeling the stretch in between in the spine. That's our target area. Turning the head toward the right as much as is comfortable on your neck. And breathe. And slowly release now. Bring the knees back up to the center. One last move, just bringing the knees in for our hugged knees, or option to take it into happy baby pose, or even to send the legs up and over the head into snail, if that's in your practice. Snail or halasana, whatever you want to call it. And let's take a few moments here for a spine stretch, a lower back. If you're in happy baby, you can rock side to side, massaging the low back. Good, let's release the legs and come into Shavasana. Extend legs long down the mat. Find a generous angle of the arms so that your shoulders can be totally relaxed. Back of the head firmly resting against the ground. Weight of the legs able to totally relax. Let your feet hang out to the sides or whatever they want to do so that your leg muscles can release and relax. And this is our moment now to fully integrate the benefits of this practice, all of the stretching and strengthening and mobility and balance we've worked with. Let's take an inhaling breath and sigh it out. And settling into an easy, natural breath, fully absorbing all of this goodness. And now take a deeper breath into the belly and into the heart. And exhale, wiggle fingers and toes and stretch out into your arms and your legs. And bend your knees and roll over onto one side, slowly bringing your way up into a seated position. And crossing the legs or whatever sitting position you'd like to take. Lift up tall with the spine. And feel your body now, feel your breath now, compared to how it was when you sat down, when you first began this practice. Notice the change, notice any shift. Now we'll have our ending ritual of chanting Om 3 times. Let's bring the palms together in front of the heart, making this transition from the internal energy of the practice to the external resonance with the outside world. Let's begin with an inhale. And the birds have been oming with us. I hope you can hear that. That's the end of our practice. I hope you feel amazing. I want to thank you for practicing with me. Thanks for joining Devi Daily Yoga today. Be sure to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it, and leave me a comment down below. I always love hearing from you in the comments. If you would like to study deeper with me, I have links down in the description box below for my trainings and programs, and I hope to see you again very soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day.